You know that Babylon documentary you mentioned?
Mm.
Well, it really got me thinking
Yeah.
about, like, how we picture Babylon.
Okay.
It's like those dusty ruins.
Yeah.
And not much else.
Right.
But it really was this thriving metropolis.
It was incredible.
It was a center of innovation,
Yeah.
trade.
Incredible.
And today, we're going to dive deep into the heart of this ancient city,
Okay, cool.
go beyond the crumbling walls,
Yeah.
and unearth the financial wisdom that they left behind.
I like it.
I think that people are really going to be surprised
Yeah, me too.
by what we uncover.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just think of, like you said, those dusty ruins.
Yeah.
And but what's really fascinating is that we're talking about Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
Roughly 2300 to 539 BC.
Wow.
That's well over 2,500 years ago.
I know.
Centuries before the Roman Empire.
Yeah?
Before even the invention of the alphabet as we know it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
To think that in this ancient world, they not only built a powerful city, right, but also developed sophisticated financial principles. Right. It really challenges our perception of history.
For sure.
What they were able to accomplish.
Yeah, I think it's more than just challenging, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And one of our sources talks about how the Babylonians literally made the desert bloom.
Oh, wow.
They didn't just survive in this harsh environment, they thrived.
Yeah. Amazing.
So what was the key to their agricultural success?
So the key really was their mastery over the Euphrates River.
Okay.
They engineered this intricate system
Yeah.
of canals and dikes,
Wow.
essentially taming the river
I see.
to irrigate their land.
Wow.
And these weren't just simple ditches.
No, I imagine.
You know, dike are these massive earthen walls
Okay.
designed to control flooding
Yeah.
and direct water flow.
Okay.
So it required incredible planning, coordination, and a deep understanding of engineering principles.
Yeah, because like if one part of it fails,
It's exactly the whole thing is going to have problems.
it's all connected.
Right.
It all has to work in perfect harmony.
Yeah, it's like a massive ancient water management project.
Absolutely.
All that coordinated effort
Yeah.
to turn this dry landscape into a fertile breadbasket.
Right.
Talk about long-term vision.
I know. They were thinking way ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this kind of collaboration and forward thinking must have been woven into the very fabric of their society.
I think so, yeah.
And speaking of impressive feats, we can't forget about those legendary walls of Babylon.
Oh, of course.
Weren't they considered one of the wonders of the ancient world?
Absolutely.
So tell me about those.
Those walls were massive.
Yeah.
Really just meant to inspire awe,
Oh,
intimidate enemies.
yeah, make a statement.
Exactly.
Right.
So they really represented security, stability, and a statement of power.
It's like a physical representation of their strength.
Exactly, yeah. And it wasn't just about brute strength either.
Oh, okay.
Records indicate that the Babylonians used complex contracts
Okay.
and meticulous record-keeping on clay tablets.
Wow.
So in a way, it's similar to how we use financial documentation today
Interesting.
to safeguard our assets and ensure transparency in transactions.
So it's more than just building a physical wall.
Exactly.
Right. It's
Yeah,
about like establishing a system of trust and accountability.
it is.
Protecting what you've earned. That's a financial lesson that resonates even today.
Definitely.
And speaking of their achievements, what about the Hanging Gardens?
Oh, yeah.
Even if the exact details are debated,
Right.
the very idea of creating such a lavish oasis in the middle of the desert speaks volumes about their ambition, doesn't it?
It does.
Tell me about that.
The Hanging Gardens, whether or not they existed exactly as described,
Right.
really capture our imagination.
Yeah.
And it suggests that alongside their practical achievements,
Yeah.
the Babylonians also had a deep appreciation for beauty.
For creating something truly extraordinary.
Yeah.
And they understood that financial success isn't just about accumulating wealth,
Right.
but also about enriching life
Yeah.
and perhaps indulging in a bit of grandeur.
It's like they knew how to balance practicality with a touch of extravagance.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, all this talk about a thriving society makes me wonder, what was their economy like?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I obviously weren't just farmers, right?
Oh, far from it.
Okay.
Babylon was strategically located at the crossroads of major trade routes.
Oh, wow.
So imagine caravans arriving from all corners of the ancient world,
Huh?
bringing spices from the east,
Okay.
precious metals from the west,
Yeah.
luxurious textiles from who knows where.
Right, everywhere.
Yeah, and Babylon became this bustling marketplace, a hub of commerce and exchange.
So their wealth wasn't just about what they produced themselves,
Right.
but also about their savvy as traders and their ability to connect different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Like they were the ultimate middlemen.
Yes, they were masters of connecting supply and demand.
Right.
They understood the power of networks,
Yeah.
of diversification. They weren't reliant on a single source of income or a single industry.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and this interconnectedness made them very resilient.
Okay.
And it's a valuable lesson for us, even in today's globalized economy.
It's like that age-old advice, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely.
It seems like the Babylonians seemed to live by that principle centuries ago.
Yeah, I think they did.
And all this historical context really sets the stage for the richest man in Babylon, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
I'm really curious to see how these real-life practices are reflected in the financial wisdom of the book.
Yeah, it's a brilliant connection.
Yeah.
The Richest Man in Babylon isn't just some theoretical guide to finances.
Right.
It's grounded in the reality of a society
Yeah.
that faced many of the same challenges we do today. And it's not a dry textbook either.
Okay.
You know, it uses these engaging parables,
Okay.
these little stories featuring characters like Arcad,
Right.
the supposed richest man in Babylon,
Yeah.
who shares his wisdom in a way that's very relatable and memorable.
Okay, so it's a story format,
Exactly.
but the stories are based on
Yes, they're based on real Babylonian life
real events.
practices.
Okay, got it.
So it makes the financial principles very practical and time-tested.
Okay.
And it really underscores that the challenges and opportunities faced by Babylonians are surprisingly relevant to us today,
Right.
even despite the time difference.
Yeah, so even though it was so long ago, we can still learn from them.
I think we can learn a lot.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm already intrigued.
Good.
And I'm eager to unpack the specific lessons from these parables.
Yeah.
And see how they connect back to everything we've learned about Babylon so far. But before we delve into that,
Yeah.
I think it's important to acknowledge that
Okay.
even in a society as advanced as Babylon,
Right.
there were likely disparities in wealth.
Of course.
Like not everyone was rich and successful.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. That's a valid point.
Yeah.
While The Richest Man in Babylon focuses on the principles of wealth building,
Right.
it's important to remember that these historical societies were complex
Yeah.
and not everyone had equal opportunities.
Right.
And the book doesn't necessarily address those nuances.
Right.
You know, so it's important to approach any historical text with a critical eye
Yeah, of course.
and consider that broader context.
Right. So we're not saying that Babylon was perfect.
No, not at all.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just saying that there's stuff that we can learn from them.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, good.
Good point.
That's a great reminder
Yeah.
that we're here to explore the financial wisdom
Right.
presented in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always crucial to be aware of the limitations of any historical source.
Definitely.
With that said, I'm really excited to dig into the parables
Yeah, me too.
and see what timeless lessons we can uncover.
I think you'll find them surprisingly relevant.
Okay.
You know, the Babylonians, despite living in a vastly different world, grappled with many of the same financial questions and aspirations
Right.
that we do today.
Exactly.
And their stories offer a very unique perspective
Yeah.
on how to build wealth,
Yeah.
manage resources,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately achieve a prosperous life.
And that's what makes this deep dive so exciting.
Absolutely.
It's not just about history.
It's not just about the past, yeah.
It's about understanding the timeless principles of financial well-being.
It is.
So, are you ready to journey into the world of the richest man in Babylon
I am, yeah.
and uncover the secrets of their financial success?
Let's go.
All right, so we've established that Babylon was more than just dusty ruins.
Right.
They were innovators,
Yeah.
collaborators, and savvy traders.
For sure.
But let's get to the heart of why you requested this deep dive.
Okay.
The financial wisdom found in The Richest Man in Babylon.
Right.
I'm especially intrigued by this parable called The 7 Cures for a Lean Purse.
Oh, yeah.
What can you tell me about it?
So this parable's a classic for a reason.
Okay.
It features our wise protagonist, Arcad, sharing his secrets to wealth with a group of friends
Okay.
who, much like many people today are struggling financially.
Yeah, for sure.
And so Arcad lays out 7 key principles or cures for an empty purse.
7 cures, huh?
Yeah.
It's like an ancient Babylonian prescription for financial well-being.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm ready to hear the diagnosis.
Okay.
What's the first cure?
So the first cure is deceptively simple.
Okay.
Start thy purse to fattening by saving at least 1/10 of your earnings.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's not about like complicated investment schemes or get-rich-quick schemes.
No.
It starts with the basic habit of setting aside a portion of what you earn.
Right.
It sounds a lot like the pay yourself first principle we hear about today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This principle of consistent saving is really fundamental.
Yeah.
It's about building that financial foundation brick by brick.
Right.
Just as the Babylonians built their impressive walls.
Okay, so cure number 1 is about paying yourself first.
Yeah.
What's the second cure Arcad prescribes?
So the second cure focuses on budgeting.
Okay.
And living within your means.
Yeah.
And Arcad emphasizes the importance of distinguishing between needs and wants.
That's a timeless struggle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Even with all their wealth and advancements.
Right.
The Babylonians had to deal with the temptation to overspend.
Right. They were human too.
Right. But how did they define needs versus wants back then?
Well, while the specifics might have differed,
Yeah.
the underlying principle remains relevant. It's about prioritizing essential expenses.
Right.
While being mindful of unnecessary indulgences.
Right.
Back then, a need might have been grain for your family,
Yeah.
while a want could have been a fancy imported fabric.
Right. I see.
So the challenge, as always, is to stay disciplined and make conscious choices about where your money goes.
It's about making those choices align with your values and your long-term goals.
Exactly.
Okay.
About being intentional.
So save diligently, budget wisely.
Yeah.
Got it.
Good.
What's the next cure on Arcad's list?
All right. So the third cure gets into the exciting part.
Okay.
Making your gold multiply.
Oh.
Or as we would say today, investing.
Now, this is where I'm really curious.
Okay.
They didn't have stocks and bonds back then.
Right.
So what kinds of investments did the Babylonians make?
They were quite entrepreneurial, actually.
Okay.
They invested in things like farming, trading ventures, and real estate. Remember those canals and dikes we talked about?
Yeah.
Those were huge infrastructure projects that generated returns through increased agricultural output.
Oh, I see.
They also invested in workshops, caravans, and partnerships that facilitated trade across vast distances.
So even back then, they understood the concept of putting their money to work, generating passive income, and diversifying their investments.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder, given their location at the heart of these ancient trade routes, were there any specific commodities or trade routes that Babylonian investors were particularly known for?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that historians continue to research.
Yeah.
While we don't have detailed investment portfolios from ancient Babylon.
Right.
Archaeological evidence suggests that they were very heavily involved in the trade of textiles, dates,
Interesting.
grain, and precious metals.
Okay, so the things that they were already good at.
Right, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
There's also evidence of investments in livestock and even shipbuilding.
Wow.
So it seems they were keen on exploring diverse avenues for wealth creation.
That entrepreneurial spirit is fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we've got saving, budgeting,
and
investing.
Yeah.
What's cure number 4?
This one is all about guarding your wealth from loss.
Okay.
Arcad wisely cautions against risky investments.
Okay.
And emphasizes seeking advice from those who are knowledgeable.
So don't just jump into the latest chariot racing craze without doing your due diligence.
Exactly.
Yeah, seek advice from experts.
Yeah.
Diversify your investments. These are principles that are still hammered home in modern financial advice.
Right. It's timeless wisdom.
Yeah, but I'm curious, given the political instability at the time, weren't most Babylonian investments inherently risky?
That's a really insightful point.
Yeah.
You're right. The ancient world was a very volatile place.
Yeah.
Wars, droughts, and political upheavals were constant threats. And while Arcad's advice to avoid risky ventures holds true, we also have to consider that historical context.
Right.
perhaps for the Babylonians, managing risk wasn't just about avoiding certain investments,
Yeah.
but also about developing resilience
Okay.
and adaptability.
Right.
You know, their emphasis on diversification, their meticulous record keeping.
Yeah.
These were all ways to mitigate risk in an unpredictable world.
That's a nuanced perspective I hadn't considered.
Yeah, it's important to look at the bigger picture.
It's not just about shying away from risk altogether.
Right.
But about understanding it
Yeah.
and managing it intelligently.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered protecting your wealth. What's the fifth cure all about?
So the fifth cure focuses on your home,
Okay.
making it a profitable investment.
Oh.
Arcad encourages home ownership
Okay.
as a way to build long-term security and stability.
This is interesting because we often associate home ownership with modern aspiration.
Right.
But it seems that Babylonians also recognized its value.
Yeah, they did.
It wasn't just about shelter,
Right.
but also about building equity and creating a legacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Owning a piece of land, a home for your family, was seen as a very tangible symbol of success and stability in Babylonian society.
Yeah.
And it also provided a sense of independence
Yeah.
and control over your own destiny,
Okay.
which aligns with the overall theme of self-reliance
Yeah.
in The Richest Man in Babylon.
So building a solid financial foundation,
Yeah,
literally and figuratively.
exactly.
Okay, we're up to cure number 6.
Okay.
What wisdom does Arcad impart this time?
All right, this one is about ensuring a future income,
Okay.
making provisions for your old age,
Okay.
and protecting your family in case of your untimely demise.
Wow. It's like the ancient Babylonian version of retirement planning and life insurance.
That's a good way to put it.
Even thousands of years ago, they were thinking about long-term financial security.
Yeah, they were thinking ahead.
That's pretty amazing.
It's a testament to their foresight
Yeah.
and their understanding that financial well-being isn't just about accumulating wealth in the present,
Right.
but also about securing a stable future for yourself and your loved ones.
Right.
And it wasn't just about individual responsibility either.
Oh, okay.
There's evidence that some Babylonian cities had social safety nets,
Okay.
communal granaries,
Yeah.
and systems of mutual support for those in need.
So they had a sense of communal responsibility woven into their financial practices.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a perspective we often miss in modern discussions about personal finance.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've covered 6 cures now.
Okay.
What's the final piece of advice from Arcad?
All right, so the 7th and final cure is all about investing in yourself,
Okay.
increasing your ability to earn.
Okay.
And Arcad emphasizes the importance of continuous learning,
Yeah.
developing new skills,
Mhm.
and striving for excellence in your chosen field.
This one really resonates with me.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that your greatest asset is your own knowledge and abilities.
It is.
No matter what your trade was in ancient Babylon,
Right.
becoming more skilled and knowledgeable would increase your value
Right.
and your earning potential.
It's a timeless principle.
Yeah.
You know, by constantly improving our skills and knowledge,
Right.
we not only increase our earning potential, but also open up new opportunities for growth and fulfillment.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's about investing in your own human capital,
Right.
which is something that the Babylonians clearly understood.
Yeah, it's fascinating how these 7 cures
Yeah.
presented within the context of ancient Babylon
Right.
address like fundamental human desires and challenges that transcend time and culture.
It is really universal.
We all want financial security.
Yeah.
We all want to build a better future for ourselves and our families.
Mhm.
And we all have the potential to grow and learn throughout our lives.
Yes.
But I'm curious, were these cures universally applied in Babylonian society? Or was this wisdom primarily accessible to the elite?
That's an important question.
Yeah.
While The Richest Man in Babylon focuses on the principles of wealth building,
Right.
it doesn't explicitly address the social hierarchy
Right.
or the accessibility of these principles to
Yeah.
different classes.
Right.
So it's likely that opportunities for economic advancement varied depending on your social standing
Right.
and your access to resources. You
Yeah.
know, just as in any society, there were probably limitations to upward mobility.
That's a valuable caveat.
Yeah.
It reminds us that historical accounts,
Right.
even those presented in fictionalized parables, should be viewed within their social and historical context.
For sure.
But even considering those nuances,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of wisdom to be gleaned from these 7 cures.
Definitely.
They offer a framework for thinking about personal finance. That's surprisingly relevant to our lives today.
Absolutely.
Right.
These principles,
Yeah.
while presented in the context of ancient Babylon,
Right.
offer a timeless roadmap to
Yeah.
financial well-being, and they remind us that building wealth is a journey that requires discipline,
Right.
planning, and a commitment to continuous learning.
Okay, so we've dissected the 7 cures for a lean purse.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much practical advice is packed into that one parable.
Yeah, no, it's really impressive.
But I know there's more to the richest man in Babylon than just this one story.
Right.
Are there other parables
There are.
that offer equally valuable insights?
Yeah, there are.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From the engineering marvels of ancient Babylon to the timeless wisdom of the 7 cures for a lean purse.
It's been quite a journey.
I have to admit, I started this episode picturing dusty ruins.
I can understand that.
But now I'm seeing Babylon in a whole new light.
It's amazing how a closer look can reveal so much, isn't it?
It really is.
The Babylonians, despite living in a time so different from our own, had a remarkably sophisticated understanding of finance.
It really makes you wonder, what else can we learn from them?
That's the spirit.
Are there other parables in The Richest Man in Babylon?
There are.
That offer equally valuable insights?
There are indeed.
Okay.
One that stands out is the tale of the 5 laws of gold.
5 laws of gold.
Yes.
Okay, you got my attention.
Right.
What are these laws?
So these laws are essentially guidelines for acquiring, keeping, and growing wealth.
Okay.
The first law is all about paying yourself first.
Okay.
Echoing the importance of saving that we discussed in the 7 cures.
Right.
The second law emphasizes seeking advice from wise counsel.
Okay.
Reminding us of the Babylonians' emphasis on knowledge and mentorship.
Okay.
The third law focuses on preserving capital and avoiding risky ventures, reflecting their understanding of risk management.
I see.
The fourth law encourages investing in familiar ventures, perhaps a nod to their expertise in trade and agriculture.
Right.
And the fifth law warns against speculating and chasing unrealistic returns.
Okay.
A timeless lesson about the dangers of greed and impatience.
It's remarkable how these laws build upon each other.
They do.
Creating this holistic approach to financial well-being.
Yeah.
They highlight not just the importance of saving and investing,
but
also the wisdom of seeking advice, managing risk, and staying grounded in reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These principles are all interconnected, just as the Babylonians understood the interconnectedness of trade and collaboration.
Right.
You know, it's not about following any one rule in isolation, but about adopting a mindset of financial prudence and long-term thinking.
Just like weaving a tapestry, isn't it?
It is a good analogy.
Each principle represents a thread.
Yeah.
And together they create this beautiful and resilient fabric of financial success.
A masterpiece.
But I'm curious, if we were to apply these Babylonian principles to our modern lives, what might that look like?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that invites personal reflection.
For sure.
So imagine applying the principle of paying yourself first to your current budget.
Okay.
Could you consistently set aside a portion of your income, even if it's a small amount, towards your financial goals?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Think about the Babylonian emphasis on seeking advice.
Right.
Who are your trusted sources of financial wisdom? Are you open to learning from others?
Yeah.
Who have achieved the financial success you aspire to?
It's like taking these ancient principles
Yeah.
and translating them into actionable steps for our own lives.
Exactly.
It's not about blindly mimicking the Babylonians, but about extracting the timeless wisdom from their experiences and applying it to our modern context.
I like that. Yeah, adaptation is key.
So we've explored the engineering marvels, the bustling trade networks, the insightful parables.
They're full of wisdom.
What a journey.
It has been.
What's the key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with from our deep dive into Babylon?
You know, I want them to remember that financial success isn't a product of luck or some secret formula.
Right.
It's about embracing timeless principles like those we've discussed.
Yeah.
Saving diligently, investing wisely, seeking advice,
managing risk, continuously learning.
Exactly.
These are the building blocks of lasting wealth.
They are.
And a prosperous life.
And it's about realizing that the Babylonians, despite living thousands of years ago, faced many of the same financial challenges and aspirations that we do today.
Exactly.
And their stories offer a unique perspective on how to navigate those challenges and achieve lasting financial well-being.
And perhaps the most important lesson from Babylon is this.
Okay, what's that?
Building wealth is a journey, not a destination. It's about making conscious choices, developing good habits, and embracing the principles of financial prudence.
Absolutely.
Just as the Babylonians did, brick by brick, law by law, parable by parable.
It's a process.
It's about building our own financial walls, both literally and figuratively.
I love it.
And perhaps even creating a metaphorical hanging garden or two along the way.
Oh, wow.
A symbol of the beauty and abundance we can create in our own lives.
What a fantastic way to sum it up.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been an incredible exploration of ancient wisdom. And its enduring relevance to our modern lives.
A huge thank you to our expert for guiding us through this fascinating journey back in time.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
And to you, our listeners, for joining us on this exploration.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights.
Yes.
To help you build your own path to financial well-being.
Definitely.
Remember, the wisdom of Babylon lives on.
It does?
Not in dusty ruins, but in the timeless principles that can guide us towards a more prosperous future.
I agree.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building those financial empires.
Onwards and upwards.